Welcome to the AI Checkpoints. Today we're diving into, well, the often quite bewildering world of AI agent frameworks. It's exciting stuff, but definitely confusing sometimes.
It really is.
Our goal here is to, cut through some of that noise, give you some clarity. We want to explore what AI agents actually are, why they're such a big deal for automation, and really importantly, help you figure out which frameworks might be the right fit for your needs.
Yeah.
We've looked at some great material from channels like Digital Needs, AI Advantage, and WWAI Adventures to help us navigate this.
Yeah, those are excellent resources.
Because it feels like there's a new framework popping up like every other week, doesn't it? If you felt a bit lost in the hype, think of this as your map.
Absolutely. The pace is just, well, dizzying.
Yes.
Like WWAI Adventures mentioned, it does feel almost constant. So this deep dive, our aim is to break down the core ideas behind these intelligent systems and give you a clear comparison of the main tools out there so you can make decisions that are genuinely informed, not just, chasing the latest buzzword.
Okay, perfect. So let's unpack this before we even get to the frameworks. What is an AI agent exactly? I think that's where some confusion starts.
That's a great place to start.
AI Advantage had this really neat analogy I like. They said a standard AI model is like an oracle, right? A brain in a jar. You ask, it answers.
Yeah,
Simple.
Input, output.
But an AI agent, that's more like worker, a brain with hands and feet. It's built to tackle goals that take multiple steps, complex stuff.
Yeah, that's the key difference, yeah.
I
It's
thought-
designed to act, not just answer. Its main capabilities, as AI Advantage laid out, are about creating a plan first, then using actual tools to carry out that plan, and
Right.
crucially, remembering what it did before, its past actions. That memory piece is vital. That lets it solve these really complex problems that need like a chain of thought. It gives it a level of autonomy that, the standard models just don't have.
Okay, so this brain with hands and feet, what are the actual parts? What makes up this worker?
Right. So according to AI Advantage, a proper AI agent really has three core components. First, you've got the large language model, the LLM. That's the brain, the reasoning engine. Makes sense.
The thinking part.
The thinking part, exactly.
Yeah.
Second, memory. This is so important for the agent to remember what happened before, keep context going. Think about how messy it would get and expensive if it had to start over every single step.
Yeah.
Memory stops that. It allows for that sustained, coherent problem solving.
Makes sense. And the third?
Tools. These are the hands and feet. What lets the agent do things?
So
Searching the web, pulling data from a database, maybe calling an external API to interact with, the outside world.
got it. Brain memory tools. But you mentioned a challenge.
Yes, the orchestration challenge, as AI Advantage calls it. This is where it gets tricky. It's about managing these parts effectively. It breaks down into, well, three main areas. First, task decomposition. How does the agent take a big goal and break it into smaller, doable steps?
Okay.
Second, tool use. When does it use its tools? How does it decide which tool? And, maybe even trickier, how does it understand the result it gets back from the tool to figure out what to do next?
Interpreting the output.
Exactly. And third, memory management. How does it keep track of context over time without getting confused or costing a fortune? This whole thing runs in a cycle, often called the react loop. Observe, think, act. Observe, think, act.
It's iterative.
Precisely. It's not just one step after another. It's constantly looping, adapting its plan based on what it observes or what its tools tell it. That's what makes them feel autonomous.
That's where the real power seems to be, that adaptive loop. Okay, so you mentioned a helpful map for development earlier. If someone wants to build one of these, where do they start?
Yeah, AI Advantage offered a really useful way to think about this, using 4 layers. It goes from the most fundamental, like ground zero stuff, up to the most accessible. And which layer you pick really depends on, your skills, your team skills, and what your business actually needs.
Okay, lay it on us. Layer 1.
Layer 1 is starting from scratch. Absolute maximum control. Zero dependencies on anyone else's code. You build everything.
Sounds intense.
It is. You can fine-tune every little detail. But it's incredibly complex. It takes a huge amount of time. And maintaining it, oh boy.
Nightmare.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
It's really only for, like, hardcore AI researchers or maybe massive companies with very specific needs and big engineering teams.
So for most people listening, probably avoid that unless you really know what you're doing and have, unlimited resources.
Exactly. Which leads us nicely to layer 2, agentic frameworks.
Ah, okay.
AI Advantage calls this the developer playground. This is where most serious AI developers are working right now. These frameworks give you a really good balance. You still have a lot of control, but you get a massive speed boost. You're not starting from absolute zero.
You get blueprints.
Yeah, think of like architectural blueprints and high-quality building materials. Saves a ton of time and effort.
Okay, that sounds more practical. What's layer 3?
Layer 3 is low-code platforms. These are aimed more at citizen developers or maybe IT pros who aren't deep coders. You get drag-and-drop interfaces, visual builders, but with an AI brain underneath. It's user-friendly.
But there's a catch.
The catch is you're usually inside that platform's walled garden. You're limited by what the platform allows you to do. Less flexibility.
Gotcha. And the final layer?
Layer 4, no-code platforms. This is the most accessible. Think of setting up digital dominoes.
Like Zapier or Make.
Exactly. Zapier, Make.com, N8N, those are the big names here. If this happens, then do that. Super fast, super easy for connecting existing apps and creating workflows.
Okay, that layered map really helps clarify the landscape. And it sounds like the really exciting cutting-edge stuff, especially recently, is happening in layer 2, right? The agentic framework.
Definitely. That's where a lot of the innovation is focused.
WWAI Adventures noted most of these really burst onto the scene late 2023, early 2024. So let's get into the specifics. Let's look at some of these key frameworks.
All right. Let's start with CrewAI.
CrewAI.
Okay. This one, as WWAI Adventures explored, uses this idea of a crew. You create a team of agents.
Like a virtual team.
Pretty much. Each agent has a specific role, maybe a software developer agent, a copywriter agent, and they each get their own tools. They actually talk to each other, collaborate to get tasks done. And these tasks can run side by side or one after another.
Interesting. Can you give an example?
Sure. Digital Needs had a good one.
Yeah.
An e-commerce setup. You could have an agent for inventory, another for shipping, one for payments. They all work together, coordinate to actually fulfill an order or manage the store. So each agent has its goal, its task, its role. The power is in that collaboration, how they share info and coordinate to achieve something bigger.
How easy is it to get started with?
It's apparently relatively quick. WWAI Adventures gave it a 7 out of 10 for learning curve, which isn't bad. A nice feature they mentioned is you can define the agents and tasks in YAML files. Developers often like that. Keeps things clean.
Yeah, configuration as code.
Right. Integrations-wise, it plugs directly into LangChain tools, which is handy. Plus others like Firecrawl for web scraping, YouTube search tools. And it supports monitoring tools like LangTrace, OpenLit, Portkey.
And memory. You said memory was crucial.
Big advantage for CrewAI here. It has built-in support for short-term, long-term, and user memory. That's huge.
Why is that so huge?
Because it means the agents remember context, they learn from past interactions, without the developer having to build all that memory plumbing from scratch. That's often a major headache.
Ah, I see. It takes a big piece off the developer's plate.
Exactly. And WWAI Adventures also mentioned the time travel feature for debugging, lets you rewind and see the agent's thinking process step by step. Super useful for figuring out why it did something unexpected.
Okay, time travel debugging sounds amazing. That crew concept is pretty intuitive too. What about Microsoft AutoGen?
Right, AutoGen. WWAI Adventures explained this one's based on something called the actor framework.
Actor framework.
Yeah, think of it like lots of independent workers or actors. They only communicate by sending messages back and forth. They don't directly mess with each other's internal state.
Okay, so it's very message-driven.
Very message-driven. This makes it potentially very robust and good for scaling lots of concurrent conversations or tasks. Agents just keep talking until the task is done satisfactorily.
What's its strong suit?
Digital Needs pointed out it really shines in human-agent interaction. Think chatbots, conversational AI. It's apparently quite good at that. It can even execute code during a conversation, which is interesting.
Wow. And the learning curve?
Super fast, according to WWAI Adventures. They gave it a 10 out of 10. Said you can get something basic running in like 6 lines of code.
6 lines? That's impressive.
It is. Integrations, as you might expect, are strong with other Microsoft products. It mainly uses OpenAI standards, so if you want to use other LLMs, you might need to set up proxy servers. WWAI Adventures found that a bit less flexible, maybe.
Makes sense if you're in the Microsoft world.
Definitely. For monitoring, it partners with Agent Ops. It does support streaming input and output. But WWAI Adventures warned the setup could be a bit complex.
Okay.
Oh, and there's a low-code tool for it, too, called AutoGen Studio.
Okay, so AutoGen seems great for conversational stuff, especially in a Microsoft environment, and it's quick to start. What about Google? Do they have a player in this layer 2 space?
They do. Google's offering is the Agent Development Kit, or ADK.
ADK?
Digital Needs described it as Google's own framework for building these agentic platforms. Its strengths seem to be its open architecture, letting you build and plug in your own tools and models, and it gives you pretty fine-grained control over the agents.
And integrations.
Naturally, seamless integration with Google Cloud Services, Google APIs, that's a big plus if you're already using Google Cloud.
Mm.
Digital Leans mentioned, it actually works kind of similarly to CrewAI in some ways, with roles, tasks, tool integration. So another strong contender, especially within the Google ecosystem.
Right, makes sense. Okay, we can't really talk about AI frameworks without bringing up LangChain. It feels like it's been around forever in AI time.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the most established in this specific space. AI Advantage called it the Swiss Army knife for rapid prototyping.
The Swiss Army knife, I like that.
It's very general purpose.
Yeah.
Use it for really simple stuff, just calling an LLM. But it also handles much more complex things, like retrieval augmented generation R, or building agents with chains of actions or routers that decide which action to take next. Digital Needs cover that well.
It's popular.
Hugely popular. AI Advantage tagged it as the clear leader in terms of adoption. That means a massive community, tons of documentation, examples, support. That's a really big deal when you're developing. Makes it a safe bet in many ways.
Okay, so LangChain is the versatile, well-supported workhorse. But then there's LangGraph. Same people, right? What's the difference there? Why LangGraph?
Good question. Yes, same team behind LangChain. LangGraph is a bit different, more generic, maybe more fundamental. WWAI Adventures explained is based on architectures like Brazil and Apache Beam using network graphs, nodes, and edges.
Graphs, like flowcharts.
Sort of, yeah. Think of building your agent's decision process like a flowchart. Each step or decision point is a node, and the connections showing the flow are edges. This graph structure gives it incredible design flexibility. WWAI Adventures gave it a 10 out of 10 for that. You can basically build any kind of agent architecture you want. Routers, React agents, reflection agents. You could even make it behave like AutoGen or CrewAI if you really wanted to.
Wow. Okay. Maximum flexibility.
Yeah.
But there's always a trade-off.
Always. The trade-off is the learning curve. It's steeper. WWAI Adventures rated it a 3 out of 10.
Ouch. Why so steep?
Because you really need to understand the concepts of agentic architecture to use it well. It doesn't hold your hand as much as, say, CrewAI, but once you get it, it's extremely powerful for those really custom, complex agent designs.
So high ceiling, but requires more effort to climb.
Exactly. Other benefits, though. WWAI Adventures highlighted first-class support for streaming messages, or tokens, which is vital for real-time apps. It also has very flexible human-in-the-loop support. You can pause the agent's process at pretty much any node, any step, and get human input. That's great for oversight.
That sounds really useful for critical tasks.
Definitely. It also has that time travel debugging feature, like CrewAI, and it's available in both Python and JavaScript, which opens it up to more developers.
Python and JavaScript. Interesting. Okay, we've got a good overview of the individual players. Now for the big question. How do they stack up? Choosing one feels like a really key decision.
It really does. Let's try to do a bit of a head-to-head based on what our sources found.
All right, the feature face-off.
Okay, first, learning curve. We touched on this. WWAI Adventures put AutoGen at the top, easiest 1010, CrewAI in the middle, 710, LangGraph, the steepest, 310.
So quick start versus power and flexibility?
Kind of, yeah. Then agent collaboration. Digital Needs really emphasize CrewAI here. Its whole model is about agents collaborating with roles and tasks. It's built for that.
Okay, CrewAI for teamwork. What about code execution?
Digital Needs noted AutoGen seems to have an edge here, especially in those conversational settings. Executing code mid-chat is pretty unique.
Right. And customization and flexibility.
Google ADK and LangChain are generally seen as highly customizable, according to Digital Needs. But LangGraph, as we said, WWAI Adventures, gives it the 1010 for design flexibility because of that graph approach. You can build anything. CrewAI is more flexible than AutoGen, but LangGraph offers the most freedom architecturally.
Okay, LangGraph wins on pure architectural freedom. How about scalability? Building for production.
This was interesting. WWAI Adventures found LangGraph scoring 910, and CrewAI 810 generally have more robust ways to handle asynchronous tasks and distribute work compared to AutoGen 710.
Even though AutoGen uses that actor model.
Yeah, apparently the way LangGraph and CrewAI handle state and concurrency can sometimes be easier to scale out in practice, though AutoGen's actor model is inherently designed for concurrency. Maybe setup complexity plays a role.
Human in the loop. You mentioned LangGraph was good here.
The most flexible, yes. WWAI Adventures said you can intervene at any point. AutoGen and CrewAI. Their options are usually more limited, often just at the end of a task. That's a big difference if you need constant oversight.
Yeah, huge difference. Memory.
CrewAI gets the shout out here from WWAI Adventures for having that short-term, long-term, and user memory built right in. Big convenience factor.
Right, less plumbing needed. Streaming. For real-time stuff.
LangGraph has first-class support. Easy peasy. AutoGen supports it, but WWAI Adventures found the setup could be tricky. CrewAI, interestingly, doesn't really support streaming natively right now.
Oh, okay. Good to know. Languages.
AutoGen Python and .NET, LangGraph, Python and JavaScript, CrewAI Python only, currently. That's per WWAI Adventures.
So the .NET support for AutoGen is a unique point.
Absolutely. If you're a .NET shop, that might make the decision for you.
And finally, those low-code tools.
AutoGen Studio is the main open source one mentioned. CrewAI has an unofficial UI, but, use at your own risk. LangGraph has a custom IDE, but it's more for visualizing the graph architecture, not really a drag-and-drop low-code tool in the same way.
Okay, wow. That's a lot to weigh up. So putting it all together, what does this mean for someone listening trying to decide? It really hammers home that there's no single best, right?
Exactly. There's no magic bullet. The right framework is completely dependent on your situation, your specific use case, your project goals, how complex it is, what skills your team already has. Both digital needs and AI advantage really stress this. You have to personalize the choice.
So can we offer some general guidance based on that comparison?
I think we can. Based on the analysis, particularly from WWAI Adventures, if you're dealing with primarily task-based problems, things that fit that agent role task model well, or if you just need to get started quickly, CrewAI looks like a really strong choice. If you're building conversational AI, like chatbots or maybe voice agents, or if you need a highly custom, complex architecture, especially if streaming is important, then LangGraph is probably your best bet, even with the steeper learning curve. Its flexibility is key there.
Right, for the complex, streaming-heavy stuff.
If you're heavily invested in the .NET ecosystem or Microsoft infrastructure, then AutoGen is the obvious frontrunner, being the only one with native .NET support.
Makes sense.
And if you need a solid general-purpose framework for prototyping, or if having that massive community support and tons of examples is crucial for your team, then LangChain is still a very safe and versatile option.
The reliable workhorse.
Pretty much. And remember, digital needs emphasize testing and iterating. Don't be afraid to try one out. The key, as AI Vantage put it, isn't just knowing you should build an agent, but knowing where to start on that layered map. And you can always move. Start with no code, move to low code, then maybe a framework as your needs get more complex or your skills grow.
That's a great point. You're not locked in forever. So ultimately, it feels like these AI agents aren't just about simple automation anymore. They're about building these intelligent, collaborative systems. Systems that can potentially learn, adapt, almost like a real team.
Precisely. That's the exciting potential.
It makes you wonder which of these frameworks, or maybe something entirely new, holds the most promise for getting us to truly autonomous AI. And what kinds of things will that unlock? Fascinating stuff to think about. Well, that's all the time we have for this deep dive into AI agent frameworks. Hit like and subscribe if you like the content. See you next time.